Every year, animals travel absurd distances, then return to exact places. No GPS, no maps, just bodies reading a world we cannot see. Some follow stars, some smell home, and some sense magnetism. Tonight, we chase the strangest guide of all, Earth's field. It is invisible, but it wraps the planet like a protective skin. This field is not magic, it is physics from Earth's core. Liquid iron moves, electric currents form, and magnetism emerges. The field is weak, yet consistent enough to become information. But how does an animal turn magnetism into a feeling of direction? Scientists think there are two main magnetic senses working together. First is a compass. It tells heading, like north versus south. Second is a map sense. It estimates location from field intensity. Inclination matters too. Field lines tilt differently at different latitudes. Near the equator, the field runs flatter. Near poles, it dives. Animals can combine tilt and strength to narrow down where they are. The puzzle is not whether they navigate, it is how. One idea uses tiny magnets, iron minerals inside specialized cells. If those grains rotate, nerves could translate motion into a signal. Magnetite has been found in several animals, but the sensors are elusive. The second idea is stranger, a light-driven compass inside the eye. In some proteins, light can create paired electrons with linked spins. Earth's field can nudge how those spins evolve, changing chemical outcomes. The leading candidate protein is cryptochrome, found in bird retinas. If true, the bird might see direction as a faint visual pattern. It would not look like lines on a map, more like shifting contrast. Experiments hinted this. Certain birds get confused under specific light. Change the wavelength and orientation behavior can shift dramatically. That points to a sensor connected to vision, not a hidden ear compass. Still, magnetite and cryptochrome might both contribute for redundancy. Nature rarely bets on one sensor when survival depends on it. Birds provide the clearest testbed because their routes are repeatable. Researchers track headings, then manipulate magnetism using coils and shielding. When the artificial field rotates, many birds rotate their preferred direction. That is the signature of a true compass sense, not random behavior. Some birds also calibrate their compass at sunset using polarized skylight. Polarization is another invisible pattern, created when sunlight scatters. So navigation becomes layered, sun by day, stars by night, magnetism always. Star compasses are real. Birds learn sky rotation around the pole. In planetariums, young birds orient correctly only after seeing rotating stars. Yet clouds hide stars, and storms hide the sun. Magnetism persists. Now shift to sea turtles, born on beaches they may never see again. Hatchlings enter the ocean, then swim into currents that carry them for years. Somehow, adults return, steering across featureless water to the right region. Experiments show turtles can detect magnetic inclination and intensity as map cues. Change the magnetic field to mimic another ocean area, and their swimming changes. That suggests a magnetic map, not merely a compass needle. Their map may be coarse, but in the ocean, coarse can be enough. Next comes salmon, which leave rivers, then return to the same gravel beds. Close to home, smell matters. Chemical signatures guide them to the right tributary. Farther out, evidence suggests magnetism helps them find the right coastline first. Some studies correlate salmon routes with magnetic anomalies along the seafloor. The ocean is full of magnetic texture, ridges, basalts, and shifting fields. But fields also wander over decades, so animals must constantly recalibrate. Recalibration can use sunrise, stars, or local landmarks when available. Insects do it too, and their brains are tiny compared with ours. Bees navigate using the sun, and they compensate for time using internal clocks. Polarized light patterns remain even when the sun hides behind clouds. Some insects also sense magnetism, though the mechanisms remain debated. Consider monarch butterflies, 4 grams of muscle, yet continental-scale migration. They use sun position and polarized light, and magnetic cues may assist. Even dung beetles use the Milky Way, rolling straight away from competition. When skies are overcast, some beetles switch to wind and ground cues. Navigation is often a toolkit chosen dynamically as the world changes. Now go offshore again, where magnetic lines bend into complex patterns. Spiny lobsters can follow magnetic headings during long movements across seafloor. In labs, rotated magnetic fields can rotate their orientation, like turning a compass. Sharks and rays may detect electric fields, but magnetism can guide them too. Electric and magnetic cues intertwine in seawater, creating a rich sensory landscape. Whales may also use geomagnetic cues, though evidence is harder to gather. The difficulty is scale. You cannot easily run controlled whale experiments. So scientists combine tracking data with Earth's magnetic maps and coastal stranding records. Some correlations appear. Strandings cluster near regions where magnetic gradients are steep. Correlation is not proof, but it hints that geomagnetism matters at sea. The field itself is not stable. It drifts, weakens, and sometimes flips. A full reversal is rare, but regional anomalies constantly appear and fade. That means navigation cannot rely on magnetism alone, especially across decades. Animals integrate cues, and they learn, updating their internal map repeatedly. We can test integration by creating conflicts. Stars say one way, magnetism another. In conflicts, species choose differently, revealing which cue they trust most. Trust can depend on experience, season, and even how cloudy the sky is. There is also a human complication. We fill the air with electromagnetic noise. Some studies show radio frequency fields can disrupt magnetic orientation in birds. If cryptochrome uses delicate spin chemistry, interference could plausibly scramble it. Light pollution adds another distortion, changing the night sky's natural calibration. A compass that depends on light may behave differently under unnatural spectra. Yet, despite these disturbances, migrations continue, implying robust backups and flexibility. Sometimes the invisible map fails, and the result is tragic disorientation. Failures teach scientists where the cues are strongest and where they break. The best evidence comes from converging methods: behavior, anatomy, and physics. No single experiment is perfect, but together they build a consistent picture. The picture says this: navigation is computation, performed by living tissue. Tiny brains can solve big geometry because the planet supplies the structure. Earth's field provides axes. Sun and stars provide timing. Smell provides address. Each cue is noisy, but together they can average into reliable guidance. This is why migrations look purposeful, even when winds push animals off course. They correct continuously, like pilots making small adjustments in rough air. We can even see course corrections in GPS tracks, but the sensing is internal. Evolution shaped sensors for environments where landmarks vanish: open sea, desert, polar night. In polar regions, auroras reveal where magnetism collides with charged solar wind. Those same forces can cause geomagnetic storms, briefly warping the field worldwide. During storms, orientation can degrade in some species, but evidence varies. This uncertainty is important. Science is still mapping the animal map. New tools help: tiny trackers, controlled magnetic rooms, and improved retinal biochemistry. As methods sharpen, the story becomes less mystical and more astonishing. Because the astonishing part is real, an animal feels a planet. Imagine sensing north without thinking, like a pressure in the mind. For a migrant, the field is always present, even inside clouds and darkness. Navigation then becomes a conversation between body and environment, repeated every second. And it begins early. Hatchlings, fledglings, and young fish already respond to fields. The map is not drawn, it is learned, tuned, and reinforced. That mix of instinct and learning is why routes can persist for centuries. It is also why changing environments can break traditions faster than genes adapt. Protecting migration means protecting cues, dark skies, quiet radio space, intact coastlines. When we preserve cues, we preserve one of Earth's greatest moving wonders. So the next time you see a bird vanish into distance, remember this: it may be reading tilt, intensity, stars, and time simultaneously and silently. Your eyes see scenery, its senses read hidden structure underneath scenery. We are beginning to understand it, but we have not reached the bottom. The invisible map is real, and countless lives depend on its accuracy. And the most haunting part is simple: the planet is always speaking.